Hello and welcome to WoT Newz for the 6th of April 2013. Before we start, I wanted to say that this will be the last episode which only includes Wargaming in Europe. From the next episode onwards, I will hopefully also be able to include news from Wargaming in the US, but I'd like to know if you'd want it as a separate video or it should be within this same video. Moving on, today's episode will be a really long one, so prepare yourselves. Coming up in the show, special, the calm before the storm, April gift shop packages, first public test notes for World of Tanks patch 8.5. Let's start with special, the calm before the storm. It's an event in World of Tanks which takes place between 6th and 9th of April. During this event, go and try to earn the Patrol Duty medal, because it will give you 25,000 additional credits. Also, crew experience is doubled. Consumables and crew skill resets are 50% cheaper, even barrack slots are 50% cheaper. Next up, April gift shop packages. These packages are limited and can only be obtained between 1st and 12th of April. The supply package includes 3,000 gold, 3 million credits and 10 large repair kits. It costs 37.95 euros. The booster package includes 1,500 gold, 30 days of premium, 2 million credits and 10 large repair kits, and costs 31.95 euros. All-inclusive package includes 5,000 gold, 30 days of premium, 5 million credits and 20 large repair kits, and costs 67.95 euros. Motherland package includes the Su-100Y Soviet Tier 6 tank destroyer, 1 garage slot, 30 days of premium and 10 large repair kits. The cost of this package is 20 euros and once again 95 cents. Fatherland package includes Tikemax, a German Tier 6 tank destroyer, 1 garage slot, 30 days of premium and 10 large repair kits, and costs 20.5 euros. And finally, the Guillotine package includes the FCM-50T, French Tier 8 heavy tank, 1 garage slot, 30 days of premium, 2,500 gold and 20 large repair kits. The cost of this package is at 59 euros. Main features of version 8.5 include a new Asian map named Pearl River, reworked graphics for South Coast, Malinovka and Siegfried Line. Premium consumables can now be purchased with credits. A new branch of German medium and light tanks. A new line of USSR light tanks. Additional notes for 8.5 include: you are now able to create platoons of 3 players without a premium account. You can also create tank companies without a premium account. New inscriptions added for 5 nations, and all inscriptions had their resolution increased. Added additional matchmaking rules to keep the balance of scouts even for both teams. That's a really good change. All of these are, to be honest. Then there's a fairly obvious change. The Tier 3 premium US SPG Sexton was moved to the British tree and also added to the in-game shop. New USSR tanks include T-60 Tier 2 light tank. If you want to know more about this one, then check out WoT Newz for 16th of March 2013, because I talked about it in detail there. T-70 Tier 3 light tank. By 1942, light tanks were considered inadequate by the Red Army, unable to keep up with the T-34 medium tank and unable to penetrate the armor of most German tanks. But they could be produced by smaller factories which were unable to handle components needed for medium and heavy tanks. The T-70 was an attempt to remedy some of the shortcomings of the T-60 scout tank, which had a very poor cross-country mobility, thin armor and an inadequate 20mm gun. It also replaced the very short production run of the T-50 light infantry tank, which was more sophisticated but also much too complicated and expensive to produce. The T-70 was designed by Nicholas Ostrov's design team at factory number 38 in Kirov. The first batch of T-70s were built with a gas 202 automotive engine on each side of the hull, one driving each track. This arrangement was seen to be a serious problem, even before the first tanks were issued. It was quickly redesigned as the T-70M, with engines in line on the right side of the tank and a normal transmission and differential. The conical turret was replaced by one more easily welded out of plate armor and moved to the left side of the hull. The T-70s were put into production in March 1942 at Zawod number 37. And Tier 80, Tier 4 light tank. The Tier 80 was based on T-70, but it had increased armor, wider tracks and stronger suspensions. T-80 was developed in mid-1943 as a replacement for the T-70. Combat had shown a number of problems with the T-70, and the new T-80 was designed to solve those. For one, the turret was made taller and a bit more roomy for the Freeman crew. The gun was given a greater elevation upper limit of 65 degrees, allowing it to fire into the upper stories of buildings and even at aircraft. While using a 45mm cannon, it also had twin 7.62mm machine guns as auxiliary armament for use against troops. Powered by twin 85 horsepower engines, this 11-ton tank was capable of speeds up to 45 km per hour. German tanks included in batch 8.5 are VK-2001D, Tier 4 medium tank. This is a reasonably speedy and dynamic tank. It can turn on the spot and is well protected on the sides. It also has a fairly accurate gun. VK-3001D, Tier 6 medium tank. For some reason this tank reminds me a lot of T-34. Anyway, it includes the dynamic gameplay people usually search for in medium tanks. It has an accurate gun, rational armor angles, and high speed and agility. Aufklärerpanzer Panther, Tier 7 light tank. This vehicle has a high speed and good dynamic characteristics. It's also heavily weighted, which makes it very dangerous in ramming attacks despite being a light tank. Its gun has good armor penetration and deals decent damage. It also has really high accuracy even on the move, which seems to be the trend these days. Indian Panzer, Tier 8 medium tank. This one is like a mini Löwe, because it looks almost exactly like the Löwe, but it's smaller. It's one of the most heavily armored and armed tanks of Tier 8, but will have slightly inferior maneuverability. Leopard PTA, Tier 9 medium tank. This tank reminds me a lot of one of those USSR heavy tanks. Was it the IS-3? Anyway, this tank is fast and maneuverable and has a powerful gun. Apparently people who like the Helgat tank destroyer will also like this one. And finally the mighty Leopard 1, Tier 10 medium tank. This tank will be equipped with what is probably the most comfortable gun in the game. It's extremely accurate, has a fast aiming speed and low gun dispersion while firing on the move. The tank will have fairly bad armor though, but thanks to the high speed it can take up an advantageous position quickly. I talked about the Leopard 1 in greater detail in WoT Newz for 16th of March 2013. This episode wasn't as long as I expected it to be, but oh well. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I'll see you on the battlefield.
right through. Got him. Our track is hit. It could break any... Gotcha. Looks like that one went right through. Enemy vehicle destroyed. Penetration. They're knocked out. nailed it bad. We nailed it bad. We nailed it bad.